Here we go. And welcome once again to another episode of the Body and Mind Podcast. As always, I am your host, The Mind, and with me is my co-host, The Body.
Back with the power!
And tears.
Oh, there'll be plenty of tears.
Lots of crying. We've been crying for 3 days after hearing about John Gruden.
We'll be crying about John Gruden and crying from laughter. There'll be all kind of emotion in this podcast.
Oh, will there ever. We've got 4 major topics to cover, and then a whole whackload of subtopics within each one. It's like an onion, layers. Keep peeling those layers.
Which leads to tears.
It does lead to tears. So the tears will be flowing as we cover football, big baller brand, baseball. Yes, as Foghorn Leghorn once said, it's baseball season. And when we ended off with good old wrestling. So we're doing the diamond, the gridiron, the squared circle, and round ball. It's like a geometry.
Well, actually,
here.
with round ball, we're not hitting the basketball court, but we're going to talk about someone who's been to court.
Oh, here we go.
Hey.
Here we go. Court is in session. All rise. All right. So on football, let's start with football. We always like football. We can never talk enough about football.
No. Love football.
Football's good. So on football today, we've got Gruden Cries. The NFL has changed. Major trades in the NFL, and the alliance has been broken. broken.
Tears of unemployment about to hit.
Oh dear, lots of crying. Tears is the theme for today's show. So let's start with tears.
I shouldn't really be mocking someone being unemployed, but it's our show.
Well, we are. Yeah, we can mock whoever we want. So, tears. John Gruden, we have discovered just in the last week that apparently after trading Khalil Mack, he cried for 3 days. His soul was tormented.
Was it that 3-day crying rain when he went off about how hard it is to find a pass rusher in this league after he traded one? He's been crying for 3 days. I've been crying for 7 months. I sat here on this show and wanted to break your Chicago Bears piggy bank.
I know, that was the Everything is Black show.
The Everything is Black show. And everything was literally black.
It was everything black.
If I remember, my socks are black, my sweats are black, the underwear is black, the microphone is black, the laptop is black, the phone that falls out of my pocket every week is black, the TV on top of the other TV is black, the table beside me is black. I don't know if I could cover anything more.
It was a lot of blackness. And yet somehow my Chicago Bears piggy bank survived the entire ordeal. Mm-hmm. Which is a good thing. I like my Chicago Bears piggy bank.
It's a nice piggy bank. It's
George
right at me this week.
Oh yeah, I know it's
right at me.
He's like, I got you, Khalil Mack.
I can't blame him for taking it if my team was stupid enough to give him away, and then cry for 3 days about it.
So do you feel John Gruden's pain?
No, I feel my pain.
The crying.
Listen to this crap.
The tears.
The tears of crap.
And he says that they acquired 4 legendary players.
Legendary?
That they otherwise would not have gotten had it not been for the sacrifice that Khalil made.
Okay, well, let's get through the 4.
Yeah.
Okay, first, before we get through the 4, what are the 2 most valuable commodities for players in the NFL? 1, your quarterback. 2, a pass rusher could get to the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So they lost one of the premier pass rushers who could get to the quarterback.
Yep.
And they got a super talented, maybe most productive wide receiver in the league the last 10 years, who in the last 6 months has debatably acted like he's completely lost his mind.
Yep.
And when the Raiders start off 2-6, let's see how his attitude is. He's positive now, but I see that going off the rails.
Oh yeah, everybody's always positive when they get paid, $18 million or however much raise they gave him.
Yeah, I find it funny. They had the money to give that to Antonio Brown, but they didn't have the money to give that to Khalil Mack last year.
Yeah.
And the pass rusher is more valuable than the wideout.
Obviously not.
Well, not in crying John Gruden's world.
So they got Antonio Brown, who he says they wouldn't have gotten if it wasn't for Khalil.
Yeah, I would have been fine with that.
They got Tyrell Williams, who they also wouldn't have got without Khalil's sacrifice.
Lots of potential there, but potential.
He's
a speed burner, but is he a big-time route runner? And in Gruden's system, does he really use the speed burner?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They also got Joyner. Defensive.
Yeah, I know who he is.
Yeah.
What I said will covers it, no.
And they got one more future Hall of Famer. Who was their fourth future Hall of Famer?
It wasn't Vontez Perfect, was it?
No, he hasn't been considered yet. They got one more future Hall of Famer for Khalil Mack. I don't know. He's so legendary. I already forgot him.
Yeah, I just.
So obviously you're not feeling Gruden's pain and anguish.
No, I'm feeling more because he stopped crying after 3 days, and I haven't stopped after 7 months.
Good old John Gruden, the gift that keeps on giving.
Cried for 3 days, and then remember a few days after the trade, how hard it is to find a pass rusher in this league. Yeah, that's why you don't trade them away.
Yeah, apparently Chicago has a new one that they're really happy with.
Yeah.
Well, we also have some new rule changes for NFL this year. They have dared to change the landscape. What wonderful and terrible things have they done?
Oh, we're going to have more replay. We're going to have replay review for offensive and defensive pass interference.
Yay, what a great idea that is.
Oh, this should be awesome.
Dripping
I mean
with
that in the most sarcastic
sarcasm.
way possible.
This microphone is covered in sarcasm.
As if games aren't slow enough, let's review an objectional call.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a terrible, terrible idea because following the CFL, we've seen exactly what happens when you allow coaches to review pass interference. It's just a disaster. It just slows the game down, and even still, as we've discovered in the CFL, they still don't get the pass interference right anyway.
No.
Multiple calls on pass interference are still deemed wrong after the decision is made.
I thought Sean Payton brought up a good point this week,
Mm-hmm.
and it was his Saints that got the wrong end of that call. A lot of people thought in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
He brought two things, and it had nothing to do with replay. I got the impression he was against the replay, but I'm not sure. Two things he brought up were the officiating crew. He said the two officials looked at each other in that controversial call, and they were kind of confused, and the one guy eventually made the call. And the reason for that, and as he mentioned, was human nature. He wasn't being critical, was because they go with all-star crews in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I'm not a fan of the all-star crew. I think you just keep the crews together.
Yep.
Yeah, people haven't worked together all year, and now it leads to this kind of confusion. Number two, another thing he brought up, and I'd have to clarify, I can't remember if you have to be in your fifth season as a referee to ref a playoff game or fifth season to get to a Super Bowl and ref that game. But Peyton also brought up a good point. What if you're a second-year guy and you're like the Patrick Mahomes of referees? Like, just get the best people out there.
Yep.
So I think that's a big part. I don't want to see this in replay. I want to see crews go to the playoffs intact in the best crews, not all-star crews and breaking up groups.
Yeah, I think it's been pretty much, it's amazing. Like, the NFL should have seen just how badly this happened in the CFL, the pass interference, how much of a just dog's breakfast.
I haven't heard that in a while. Love that
it was, for using a kinder, gentler term.
Mm-hmm.
Then that's all they have to do is just look at the CFL, and you've had a couple of years of evidence to prove that all it's done is slow the game down, make games last longer, frustrate fans, and still you're lucky if you get half the calls right anyway. So it's just not worth it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think the ideas you're talking about there from Peyton are far better. And usually, anytime we see any kind of meaningful rule changes in any sport, no matter what it is, it's always these small changes that make the biggest difference. It's never some big, huge, massive thing. It's always small, simple things that make all the difference in the world to help speed up the game and make it more entertaining. Like I always think to the NHL, when one of the most significant rule changes they made was that if you ice the puck, you can't make a line change. The players that were on the ice when you iced it have to stay there for the next face-off. And that was a great rule change because before teams would just, if they're starting to get tired, they would just ice it, and then the play would stop. And in that stoppage, they would basically make a full line change. And they didn't care that they had to do a face-off. They had a fresh team out there.
I think
by doing that, that's pretty much greatly reduced the amount of icing because, now you're in danger.
One of the things I'm wondering, too, as the NHL started talking about having a similar rule for the goalie freezing the puck as they do for the icing rule. Like, I know it hasn't passed, but are they starting to talk about that?
Oh, yeah.
I thought I've heard some talk about that might come into play.
Yeah, they're always reviewing, yeah.
Now, are you a fan of that for the goalie freezing the puck? I'm not. I wasn't at first for the icing, but it's won me over. I think it's a good rule, but I'm not necessarily a fan of it for the goalie freezing the puck. I hope it doesn't go that far.
I haven't given that one any thought yet.
I don't even know if it's seriously been discussed, but I think it's been floated out there.
I'll have to think about that after and see what kind of effect. Well, with the other ones, the NFL, I think there's some other rules that they are putting in and some they consider they're not.
Well, one they were talking about but got voted down, and I'm happy for this, is they were talking about a rule that you could use once in the fourth quarter if you're behind, where you could ditch the onside kick and go for a 4th and 15 from your own 35-yard line. Like, keep the ball after you score, but you can only use it once a game. I'm not a fan of that. It got voted down.
Yeah.
Owner of the Giants, Mara.
Yeah.
Because I think the rules committee passed it 7-1, so it looked like it was going to go through.
Okay.
And then when it came to the final vote, it got voted down. But before the final vote, Mara even commented, "What are we becoming arena football?"
Yeah, that is true.
Seems a little gimmicky to me.
That is true. Yeah, moves like that are gimmicky, and I agree with that. Obviously, they're trying to generate more late game scoring, but yeah, it's no longer a game of football if you start doing things like that.
I think part of where that came from, too, is with the new kickoff rules, it was almost 0-4 on onside kicks last year.
Yeah.
But I still wasn't a big fan of that.
Yeah. Yeah. So was there any other rule changes that we know of?
For that? No, those are the two main ones.
Yeah, those are the two
There's
big
probably
ones.
more for baseball when we look at that later. I was more excited about the ones for baseball, too.
Yeah. All right. So for us, it's kind of a fail on the PI.
Yeah.
All right. But who knows? Let's see how it works out. We think badly, but who knows? Maybe we've been proven wrong. It's bound to happen at some point.
Probably not with this.
The NFL has also done some pretty major moves lately that we've yet to give our glowing opinion on. So let's look at a few of these. One, Antonio Brown says goodbye to the Steelers and hello to Oakland.
Being a Raiders fan, I have mixed feelings about this. As I said before, I'm irate that they didn't have the money to pay Khalil Mack last year, but they could sign Antonio Brown to that.
Yeah, for almost the same money.
Yeah.
Misplacement
of priorities. The mixed feelings, though, is they only parted with a 3rd round and a 5th round pick.
Yeah.
And the Mac thing's done already, so you have to move on from that. So they at least got him.
Yeah.
My concern is, though, when the Raiders get off to a slow start, and I'm sure they will, what's Brown's attitude going to be like?
Yeah.
And that's of great concern.
Yeah. Yeah, I was incredibly surprised at how little the Steelers got for him. I have to imagine.
I wasn't after the Buffalo report that same weekend. Did you hear about the Buffalo report that weekend?
No.
Apparently, the rumor was, though the Bills and Browns camp deny it, They said Buffalo turned it down, but the rumor was the Bills had worked out a deal for him, and
Right.
Brown wouldn't go.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That I knew. Yeah.
And if that rumor is true, and I can't help but think it was true, even though it was denied.
Yeah.
Knowing that probably just drove the trade value way down.
Right.
Because there's one less team out of it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and it might have just.
And there wasn't many teams in it to start with.
Yeah, well, especially given how much he's just pretty much torpedoed his own value, like by just talking nonsense. Yeah, all I know is right now I wouldn't want Antonio Brown on my team, just because for all the physical talents he has, he just seems like he's lost his mind.
Well, my favorite team's already a team in disarray, and I think they're going to get power driven to a next level of disarray.
Yeah. Like, his attitude has been so unbelievably bad. Like, one to watch. Another one to watch was Kareem Hunt, who got suspended and thrown off the Kansas City Chiefs last year after his latest bout of, well, I don't know if it's spousal abuse, but just
abusing women, whichever way you portray it.
Yeah, beating up women in general. And just when you think, okay, well, this slime is gone, hey, Cleveland, why not? You've got all this good news going. Why not sign this guy?
You got good news. You got Nick Chubb. You got Duke Johnson. You don't need, even if you need him, I couldn't sign this guy.
Yeah.
In good conscience. I don't know what's worse, Cleveland signing him or the NFL only suspending him 8 games. I thought you should have got a whole season easily.
Yeah. Yeah, you should have.
But Cleveland, I know people have a lot of high hopes for Cleveland, but before the show, I thought you brought up a good point. And there's something else I'm going to bring up as a possible concern with Cleveland, depending on the schedule, might tie together.
Yeah.
I have a weird feeling the year isn't going to be as good for Cleveland as everyone thinks, possibly.
Yeah.
And you mentioned karma, and this could be a big part of it, because signing this guy was just an atrocity. Because I don't even think this guy's like legitimately rehabbed or anything.
Well, I'm a firm believer in karma. And generally when people do nasty things like this, karma gets them. And no matter the team, you know, you cheat or you do unethical things, and yeah, you'll get taken down. You know, because like KC, well, what have they won with all this talent? Nothing. Right? It's like, coincidence? Even the vaunted New England Patriots, when they did their cheating on the New York Jets there.
That was the year they didn't win. That was the year they were on pace for the perfect season.
They're on pace for a perfect season. Did they win? No, the Gigantes.
Easily the greatest Patriots team put together, too.
Yep. And what did karma do? Took the Super Bowl ring and gave it to New York.
In the cruelest way possible in the last 2 minutes.
Exactly. So it's like, don't mess with karma. Just like we were talking before the show, don't mess with karma and don't mess with Mother Nature.
Oh, Mother Nature is unbeatable.
It's absolutely undefeated. Karma, Mother Nature, and time. They're undefeated. Do not challenge these entities.
No.
So, yeah, I think karma is going to bite Cleveland this year. For all the good things they did, this Kareem Hunt signing, this has just negative karma all over it.
It does.
Speaking of negative karma.
And plus, I'm going to throw on to the negative karma.
Oh, yes. Your matchup.
My matchup?
Yeah, your Sunday night matchup.
Oh, yeah, well, I'll get to that too.
Oh, there's more.
Well, this goes with
it's like an infomercial, but wait, there's more.
You get this, that, and this. They're only $29.99. But wait, there's more.
What? I was already going to buy it.
There's more.
Oh, my God.
Remember a few years ago, the Ray Rice incident? And yeah, he should have been tossed out of the league for that.
Yep.
But remember, he actually seemed like he legitimately rehabbed, right? He seemed like he went through all the steps. I haven't heard anything since. I think he did a bunch of tours and that.
So he cried for more than 3 days?
Yeah, I think he even cried when he knew he wasn't getting in the league anymore. And yet, never got back in the league.
Yep.
Kareem Hunt's in after an 8-game suspension.
I know, right?
Like, Rice actually looked like he tried to make amends. You can never really know anyone's real intentions.
Yep.
Hunt doesn't seem like because he lied to the Chiefs, actually.
Yeah.
He doesn't even seem like he's tried to make amends. He's back in after 8 games.
And he beat up this girlfriend of his in Cleveland.
Wow. Amazing. Anyways, getting back to this. So the NFL season starts on a Thursday night every year. And generally, the defending Super Bowl champs have been in the Thursday night game.
See.
This year, no. Oldest rivalry in the NFL to start year number 100 of the NFL, Bears-Packers.
Nice.
So there's been talk the Patriots will be the Sunday night game. And a lot of people have been clamoring for Patriots-Browns on Sunday night.
Oh, yeah.
The team of the future.
The grizzled old veteran against the young, shiny upstart.
Now, I have mixed feelings about this because I really think if the Browns are going to face the Patriots, it should be week 4, 5, or 6 on a Sunday night. Because this team is so young and had such a losing culture for so long that I think if they face the Patriots week 1, especially with the rookie head coach, the Patriots will destroy them and they'll set the wheels off for a disappointing year. Now, having said that, even though there's part of me that wants to see the Browns do well after all this futility and not have that happen in opening week, not have them play the Patriots, maybe the Kareem Hunt signing, that would be the appropriate karma.
That would be the karma.
I'm kind of divided on that.
Yep. That would be the karma you get. You face Patriots in week 1 and you get the truck run right over you.
Yeah, and it just throws the season. We've seen teams get destroyed week 1 and turn it around. But I just think with a team that young, if they get destroyed week 1, it sets the tone for the season.
Yeah. I like it. I think that would be the inevitable conclusion to that match.
I think for the Browns to have a chance against the Patriots, they have to face them around week 5 or 6 at least.
Yeah. Build some confidence. So speaking of confidence, this next guy has no lack of it. Odell Beckham goes to Cleveland.
And that's the other part, too. If the Browns get off a slow start, remember I talked about how things fell off. The wheels could fall off with Brown in Oakland early.
Yep.
Same thing can happen in Cleveland if they're losing early.
Yep. Prima donna. Yeah. If Odell ain't happy, he's going to go right back to his party boat. Which I'm sure we park right there on the shores of Lake Erie. And he might not just be there partying on the Thursday before the game. He just might be there from Monday to Friday before the week before the game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it shakes out because I think the Browns going to be pretty good. I think that's a good trade for both teams because I think the Browns needed a playmaker like that.
Yep.
And I think New York needed rid of him. I think the change of scenery would be good for him.
Yeah.
I think for him, as long as they don't become a dumpster fire and have the disappointing start, him and Jarvis Landry being good friends is going to be a really good thing.
Yep.
And Eli Manning's more of a quiet leader. Mayfield, even though he's young, seems like the type of guy he's not going to put up with Beckham's crap in the huddle.
Right. No, I wouldn't expect it.
No, I think that might be a better fit for Beckham. I think they'll get along better, but yet Mayfield will have a more stern leadership style.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I could totally see Mayfield basically getting Beckham's face.
Yeah.
Yeah. And last but not least, and on the major moves, I consider this to be the most major of them all. Fitzmagic is going to Miami.
I think that's awesome. I mean, it's kind of a building year for them, and apparently I think there's supposed to be 3 quarterbacks in the upcoming draft next year, at least 2 of them.
Nice.
We're good prospects. Like Fitzmagic as a short-term solution. Not long-term, but short-term. But we both like Fitzmagic.
Absolutely. I'm just wondering just how long and how big can his beard get? Is there ever a point where his beard gets so big it starts to cover up his own jersey number?
Waiting to see that. I'm excited to see how he does in Miami this year. I mean, I don't think they're going to have a very good team, but he could give them a couple wins.
Yeah,
that they don't expect. I'm a big Fitzmagic fan.
Well, Fitzmagic, he always excels when you least expect him to.
Yes, and when you have expectations.
Boom! It's like a kamikaze pilot, straight down.
Yeah. Last year was a great indication of that. Started the year in Tampa, no expectations. He's the hottest quarterback in the league.
Yep.
As soon as you expect him to keep that up, he's pile driver.
Yep. It's like all of a sudden 4 interceptions, no touchdowns. It was a disaster.
Yeah.
It was definitely a self-pile driver.
The good, the bad, and Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Oh, yay for Ryan Fitzpatrick.
I think Miami's a great fit for him.
Perfect.
No expectations.
None. 16-0. All right.
You got to come out thinking 0-16 to get you the 16-0.
Oh, yes. The reverse psychology. It's all about no expectations. All right. Well, that is our look at football. Oh, no. I almost forgot. There's one more. What am I saying? What's wrong with me? Crepes. I've already forgotten about them. The Alliance.
They're still in existence, and they've forgotten about themselves.
Forgot about them. The Alliance of American Football.
Hey, buddy, I'm looking for a check. Oh, I forgot.
So, yeah, the Alliance of American...
The Alliance is crumbling.
They're already on life support, which...
This is a great day for Vince McMahon. He'll start his soon-to-be floundering league in a year or two.
Yay, yeah. Which I can't say I am surprised after I saw week one of... after the first week of the league, I was just game number one. I remember San Antonio Commanders against the San Diego Fleet in San Antonio. And I figured, okay, brand new league, game number one, nationally televised game because it was on CBS.
I was blown away. It was on CBS.
Major network, right? The whole country, everybody gets to watch it. And I thought for sure the San Antonio Alamo Dome was going to be packed for game one at least, right?
You thought that?
That's what I thought.
I thought about 20,000.
See, I thought game one, it was going to be sold out stadium. I figured it'd be just like the Montreal Expos. Game one of the season, 60,000 people to watch the Expos. Game two, 6,000.
That's actually not a bad prediction on your part, thinking that way. And I remember you brought that up.
And then
that wasn't such a crazy prediction either, I thought.
And that's what I thought that the San Antonio would do. It'd be like game one for a brand new football league. Yeah, you'll fill the stadium up, 60,000 people in game one. Well, that's not what they got. They got 30,000. And when I saw the stands, I was like, the entire second bowl is pretty much empty. I was shocked. I'm like, where's all the people? I thought it was going to be sold out. And yet on the pregame show, all of the guys oh, what a great crowd, 30,000. This is better than expected. And and I was like, really? You didn't expect a sellout for your very first inaugural game? So that surprised me. And then week two, seeing the couple of games that are on, seeing the I don't know, I don't even know how to describe it, the paper thin attendance in both stadiums. I was I think this league is in trouble already.
Yeah, I remember you mentioned that to me week two.
Yep.
Because when you watched week two, you had watched one more week than I did.
Mm-hmm.
Week one, I tapped out. I tapped out like life had put me in the sleeper hole.
Oh, and I think it's exactly what the football fans have done to the Alliance.
I was just, life grabbed me in the sleeper hole and I was not getting out.
Yeah, well, that's what happened.
There was no escape.
And we have discovered that actually the owner of the Carolina Hurricanes put in a $250 million cash injection into the league for an ownership stake just so they could meet payroll.
And the season's not even over.
Well, only halfway into the season.
By the way, is the XFL slated to start next year or the year after? They're not
next year.
Fantastic. It'll be Johnny Football's fourth league in 4 or 5 years? 5, 6 years, whatever?
I know. Johnny Football basically burned all of his bridges in the CFL because he wanted to go make it to the Alliance because I was going to get him back to the NFL. And the Alliance is probably going to fold.
This week. Not even make it to the playoffs or championship game.
The decision-making by Johnny Manziel just continues. Well done, boy. Well done. So, yeah, AAF bar.
Obviously, in the pocket isn't the only place he has trouble making a decision.
No. So, yeah, AAF.
The bar, the pocket, the career.
Thanks for coming out. We barely knew you.
Yeah.
And now we're actually done with football.
Just like football's just about done with Johnny Manziel.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's go on to some basketball news. Speaking of being done with all of this.
Should we talk about big ballers?
Big Baller Brand.
Oh, Big Baller Brand.
Or should we say the Big Baller Bust?
Oh, yes.
Lonzo is Gonzo for Big Baller Brand.
Like Alonzo. He says he's becoming his own man.
He's becoming his own man. Oh, it's a good thing. He's sticking out his chest.
Fantastic.
Getting out from under his father's skirt.
Which is awesome. Oh, man. Yeah, this Big Baller's just turned out to be an epic failure to start with. I mean, Lonzo's been wearing Nike shoes instead of like his own company's shoes.
Yep.
And then they were overpriced.
Yeah,
and
$400. Why? Because we can. Okay.
So apparently, Alan Foster?
Alan Foster.
Alan Foster.
Criminal mastermind.
Yeah, friend of LeVar Ball for a decade, since about 2010. So apparently it looks like he's allegedly embezzled and funneled $1.5 million worth of funds.
Oh, joy.
He's a 16% owner in Big Baller Brand.
Big Baller Brand.
Big. So apparently, I guess once Lonzo or LeVar found out about his criminal past, things came to light. But there were some accusations going back to since last fall. And I guess LeVar didn't really want to hear it from a couple different sources at first. It was his friend. But it's come to roost. So $1.5 million missing. Foster, who in 2002 was convicted to a 7-year sentence. He had embezzled $4 million. And he was charged with 1 count of mail fraud and 2 counts of money laundering. This is a guy you want to put in charge of your money.
Absolutely.
But I guess, well, in fairness, it did happen years before LeVar had met him. But, yeah. Still, Foster got in there.
Somebody who went to jail for stealing money from a company he was with, not the person I want to partner up to start a new company.
No. And the funny thing is I heard mention of this somewhere, and I thought it was a good point. I'm actually going to get to kind of the motto of my story here.
Baha.
Is someone had brought up that LeVar had grown up in a tough neighborhood, and you think his BS meter would have picked up on this. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm going to say this, too. Partially, you think his BS meter would pick up on this, but I've also learned, it's kind of like people who like to fight, but even if you have a really good BS meter, the day you don't think you can get scammed is the day someone comes along that can scam you. So even if you have a good BS meter,
yep,
you can be had if you let your guard down.
Yep, that's true. Oh, yeah.
So I thought you should have seen it, but in a way I still can't blame him because anyone can be had.
Mm-hmm. But realistically, the whole company was just a joke from day one.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the whole thing just sounded so poorly thought out. And literally, when they asked LeVar Ball, why are you charging $400 for a pair of sneakers when nobody else is coming close to that amount? And his answer literally is because I can. That's just the number that I picked out of thin air. That's literally how they came up with that price.
Well, I'll say this. I think this is the best thing that happens to Alonzo, actually, because he's going his own way. LeVar Ball said some things I've been unpopular with. And I think he's had his son's best interest at heart, but I think he's screwed up. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's screwed up things for Alonzo.
Oh, yeah.
One of his sons should still be at UCLA. And I believe the other one, his college eligibility might have been messed up by that Lithuania tour.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Definitely the successive Alonzo making it to the NBA got to his head. Mm-hmm. And it affected where he thought, I could get all my sons into the NBA and I can control the NBA, period.
And I think it might have messed up Lonzo because teams that might have been interested in Lonzo.
Oh, yeah.
But if LeVar is not involved, that may rehash any interest in Lonzo and be less distractions.
It'll be a huge boon for Lonzo because he can just focus on basketball and not have to worry about all these crazy sideline distractions.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So I think this is actually a blessing in disguise for him in the long run.
Big time. All right. Well, that is the end of the Big Baller Brand, and that's the last we'll speak of it. What we won't stop talking about is baseball. Woohoo!
Oh, and the preview show will be coming up, but that doesn't mean we're not going to cover some stuff today.
Absolutely, because it's opening day. Baseball is here.
Well, it's primarily opening day because we thought everybody was starting on the opening day,
and yet
they did do the Japan tour for 2 games with Oakland and Seattle.
grrr,
Oh,
grrr, Japan.
so angry about that.
I like your country. I like your history. Samurais and ninjas are awesome, and so is New Japan Pro Wrestling.
And none of those 3 would have approved of this move.
Big time fans of Wrestle Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
Never miss it. But Major League Baseball regular season games in Japan to kick off the season. Oh man, that is the pouring of salt over an open wound.
Well, you remember the old Japanese heel tactic in the 80s of throwing salt in the opponent's eyes.
Ooh, that's what they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, they threw salt in MLB's eyes. This is...
Or did MLB throw salt in their eyes?
Oh, yeah.
Did Japan
in their own eyes.
Did Japan Did Japan throw an offer, come here, or did MLB go, you know what? We're going to make you an offer. We want to come over there to expand our game.
It probably is MLB trying to do the expansion thing.
Yeah.
But it's...
I don't see the need. The Japanese have their own baseball league they're quite happy with.
That's the thing. The Japanese already love baseball.
Yeah.
You don't really need to convince them
About baseball.
About baseball. They love the game. They love their own league. They love the American league. They love baseball, period. Like, if you're really trying to expand the game, then I don't know, go to South Africa. Go to Nigeria. I'm sure they know nothing about baseball there. Go there.
Go to the Congo.
Go to the Congo. The People's Democratic Republic of Congo. By the way, tip for everyone out there. If a country has the name People's or Democratic in it, run.
Away,
Run.
not to it.
Run away.
From it.
Run far. Leave all your luggage behind. Take a cab, a boat, a plane, a hot tub, whatever. Get out.
Take the hot tub, place it on the ocean, hope you can make it across.
Just get out.
Hot tub. Absolutely fantastic.
There's the word to all of you travelers out there.
Somebody fart in the tub, it's losing heat.
Need more power. More power, Captain. More power. Just remember, People's Democratic, run away. As the haunted house said to its new owners, get out. That's what you should do.
As quick as possible. Yeah, the whole Japanese starting a season in Japan bugs me.
Ben, we know where baseball should be starting every season.
Cincinnati.
Cha-ching. That's where it should, but it's not.
No, I think Cincinnati's like in the middle of the pack of the games tomorrow.
It is. It's one of the 4:00 Eastern games.
Should be the first game.
It should. The first game, well, I guess there's a whole bunch of, well, actually, there's 2 first games. There's Baltimore against the Yankees and the Mets against the Nationals.
Oh, DeGrom against Scherzer. Some big pitching matchups you're pointing out tomorrow on that one.
Oh, yeah.
Should be the gem of them.
There's 2 super monster.
Or by the time this podcast is out, that game should be going, or maybe
that's right,
the day after or whatever. Yeah. But we're talking about it currently at this moment as
right
it's
now.
upcoming.
Game has not happened yet. DeGrom and Scherzer, definitely, that's like the big sexy pitching matchup. Other matchups that are also like quite juicy. We have Houston versus Tampa, Verlander versus Snell.
That should be a promising game.
I mean, the AL Cy Young winner versus the man that wants to be the Cy Young winner again. Mm-hmm. And then it's like those are kind of like the 2 big ones, and then we have some other curious ones. You mentioned Kluber and
Berrios
in Minnesota.
And Berrios is a good young pitcher, and he pitches better at home. Mm-hmm. So that could be quite the interesting duel right there. And then a very underrated one is in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
With Jameson Taillon against Luis Castillo.
Yeah.
2 very underrated young pitchers who are really good.
Yeah, the 2 staff aces, young guys. Yeah, it's kind of a under-the-radar matchup. Mm-hmm. But this is a very cool matchup.
I think, that might even turn into the best matchup of the day.
Yeah, well, I definitely think that this is a a big time matchup. Tyon, definitely the big, giant, tall, lanky pitcher for the Pirates. Pirates, despite being the lowest salary in the entire league, trying to prove that they can actually compete in this super competitive NL Central. And Louis Castillo, amazing pitcher, good young pitcher, staff ace for the Reds, the rejuvenated Reds, with all the moves they made this year, getting Puig in there and Alex Wood and others. So I mean, the Reds seem like a team on the rise. And yeah, Louis Castillo, I could totally see this this guy being a 16-game winner. Same with Tyon as well. Also, could be a big year for him. Another match, which should be a pretty interesting one as well, is San Francisco against San Diego. The two Sans are going to be meeting each other, as we have good old Madison Bumgarner against Eric Lauer of the Padres. So obviously the big interest here is that we have Padres with the new shiny toy, Manny Machado, in tow. And meanwhile, the Giants are going with good old Bumgarner, who they're trying to, basically Bumgarner trying to
Stay healthy.
almost stay healthy and resurrect his career.
He's determined. I mean, bad health for 2 straight years is worrisome. But a guy with his competitive streak and determination, I wouldn't rule him out.
Yeah.
I have trouble betting on him, but I think it'd be foolish to completely rule him out as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a crazy matchup because yeah, you got really San Diego, how are they going to react this year to their new signing, and plus having one of the more deeper prospect pools in baseball.
Plus, I got to admit, I was a little reluctant because I know Machado doesn't like the hustle, but he seems like he's actually enthused by this move. Maybe all the young players around him. So maybe it turns out.
Yeah, exactly. Like just an infusion of like youth and just desire, will, like hope.
Speaking of teams, you're talking about Cincinnati's improvements too.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll go into this more when we have the baseball preview. But that NL Central is going to be the best division in baseball, because if Cincinnati's the worst team,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it will be the worst team. You got the Cubs, Milwaukee, St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they could move up and finish ahead of any of those teams.
Oh yeah.
And even if they finish 4th, because all those teams are really good,
Yeah.
their 4th might be good enough to finish second in any division. Maybe not record-wise, because the division will beat up on each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, there will be no easy outs in that division.
No, the division should be competitive, and I know even the good old Pirates there, who frustrate me year after year, they have been on a
I sadly forgot about them. Sorry, being in that division.
They have been on an off-season like goodwill campaign to try and convince their fans.
Well, I know it hasn't been an off-season spending spree.
Oh God, no! It has been the exact opposite. I'm sure if you open Rob Nutting's wallet, there's just nothing but fruit flies coming out of that thing and maggots. Definitely ain't no money in there. But yeah, the Pirates are trying to convince everyone, no, we're not going to suck as hard as you think we are.
That might be the one easy out of the division. Sorry.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I don't have great faith in the Pirates again. But yeah, the rest of the teams, it should be a fun division. So yeah, we've got some baseball, so it's a good thing.
We got a couple big preview shows coming up: the MLB regular season, and there'll be playoff previews coming.
Absolutely. So yeah, we got big shows coming to go with this big show. Because
usually I don't even hype up another previous show coming up, but we've got a lot of good stuff coming.
As always.
But this is a big time of year.
Oh,
things are starting. Things are coming to conclusion.
It's happening.
Things are starting to come to a conclusion.
It's happening. Boom! Yeah, there's also, speaking of rules, we had some NFL rules, and there's also some baseball rules.
Yeah, there are some interesting baseball rules, actually.
All right, give us some. Give me some juicy ones.
So the MLB is looking at, they want to speed up. I'm looking at like old stuff here, and I have like a whole like massive thing of writing here.
Yeah.
I will look this up yet again.
Heavens.
I had it all down here. I'm sure I had it all down here in the madness.
That's crazy. Because, yeah, I know one of the rule changes was mound visits.
Yes, going from 6 to 5 a game starting this year, which I love. I'd still like to see that go down a bit more, but I will take minor at this point.
Yeah, I'd like to go down to 1.
So here it comes. Time between the innings will go from 2:05 to 2 minutes in local games, 2:25 to 2 minutes in national games. It's only a few seconds per inning, but it adds up per half inning. Considering a full game, you get 17, 18 half innings, whether you finish the bottom of the ninth. Does it mean fewer commercials? Probably not. I don't know what they'll do. I could even see the split screen or the quarter screen going, but I'm okay with that to cut the breaks.
Yep.
Here's one that I really liked. Was the trade deadline. There used to be the trade deadline and the waiver trade deadline.
Right.
And I just, that always bugged me. Just one trade deadline. You made a good point when we talked about this earlier before the start. Capitalizing on what hockey and basketball have done by having a solid trade deadline.
Yep.
Because there's definitely something to that.
Yeah,
there's an anticipation to it.
Yeah, that's good. One trade deadline. Trading frenzy. There was, I know, one as well with relief pitchers coming in that they have to face a minimum number of batters now.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if that's this year or next year, because there's rule changes this year and next year. I'm just trying to look it up. But they must, if a reliever comes in, they must at least face 3 batters, or at least the end of the half inning they're in.
Yep. So I like that idea. I mean, again, that's just going to speed up the game rather than having all these constant.
Well, all this, we're going to bring in a guy to face the one left-handed batter, then we're going to go to someone else, or the other one that used to annoy me. We're going to bring in the guy to face the left-handed batter, for example. So we're going to bring in the left-handed pitcher. Then the other team brings in the right-handed batter. So you don't even pitch the left-handed pitcher, and you take him out before he's throwing a pitch. Now you have the right-hander come in, and he throws all his warm-up pitches.
Yep. That's the thing. All that wasted time. The guy like physically walking, running from the bullpen to taking all his warm-up pitches. Like, yeah, it's just a colossal waste of time. I know another one as well you mentioned that where position players can't be pitchers no more.
I believe, up to 9th inning. I'm looking for exactly where I found that one, but it was unless their team was up or down by 6 innings. So I guess, unless it's the game's completely out of hand.
Right.
And, because, you know what? We have 7-man bullpens these days. How are we even getting to position pitchers?
That's the problem, is when you have these guys coming in for like one single batter. That's how you get rid of all your pitchers. So, yeah, that's good. Lowering the usage, the overusage of the pitching is a good thing. Speed up the game, make it more fan-friendly, more TV-friendly. And let's get baseball to like 2.5 hours.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
2.5 hours, that'd be nice.
That's a thing, too. They're not going with a pitching clock yet, but that is, like, good pitchers usually work quicker. And you see a lot, I think it's partially pitchers, and everyone steps out of the batter's box now. I mean, ever since I watched baseball decades ago, there'd always be the odd guy who'd do it a bit, but not to this point now where people repeatedly step out.
And that'd be the other thing I'd get rid of is no more getting out of the batter's box, ever. Once you get in, that's it. You're there. Same thing with bat catchers going to talk to their pitchers. None of that. Gone. No more of this meeting of the mounds nonsense.
No. Starting next year, there's actually roster provisions. The roster size will go from opening day to August 31st. It'll increase from 25 to 26. And I like that, even though it's one more guy, because I think the benches have really suffered with the bullpens getting bigger. And I'd like to see a bit more on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
The one difference, too, is the 40-man active roster from September will be eliminated, and the roster just goes up to 28 in September.
Okay.
And I like that, too, because I thought 40 was far too much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know you like to see what your youngsters could do, but really, do you need a 40-man roster? Like, I wouldn't even watch baseball in September except for the odd big pennant race game.
Yep.
But I can't even imagine how much you're slowing a game down if you're starting to make all these bullpen and bench moves with a 40-man roster.
Yeah. No, that's a good move.
I could be wrong, but I guess a lot of September games are probably turning into marathons.
Yeah.
Because of it.
Oh yeah. No, that's another good move. Yeah, I like that. Just anything you can do to speed the game up is going to be a good thing.
Unfortunately, the 3-batter minimum doesn't kick in until next year for pitchers.
All right. Well, at least it's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, it's got some good moves. We're heading in the right direction.
Yeah, I'll take it in slow progress. I'd take that better than no progress.
Exactly. So, good. Baseball is back and getting better.
I'd agree.
Oh, yeah. So, finally, our last, but certainly not least, topic is going to be on good old pro wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Yay! Always ready for more wrestling.
I'd like to see a new type of match. A new type of gimmick match.
Uh-oh.
There's a last man standing match.
Is it going to be a new barbed wire match?
Nope. It's going to be a new death match.
Death match.
Back in the 70s and 80s, a big deal used to be the Texas death match.
Not a loser leave town match?
Man, I miss those too. So the Texas death match, loosely I can remember, would be when a guy can't continue anymore.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, pinfalls would be counted, but they wouldn't count. I don't know why they had the pinfalls in them.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Never see them in the area. We're in the old AWA territory where we watch wrestling. This is more of an NWA, I think maybe WWF as well.
Okay.
Thing.
Yeah.
Anyways, basically the idea was you couldn't continue. It sounds kind of similar to the last man standing match. I proposed a new death match should be a combination of 2 matches. You could win one of 2 ways in a death match if they bring it back.
All right.
The last man standing rule,
Right.
where the loser can't answer a 10 count,
Yeah.
or you lose when you quit. Utter the words, I quit. So it's a combination of last man standing, I quit, either one. That's the death match.
What about if you die?
Then he obviously can't answer the 10 count.
Boom.
Death match.
Death match. Want death to be a part of the equation here. If you die, you can't make the 10 count, you lose.
Man, if that ever did happen, I would, no, I didn't really mean I want him to die. So the new 2019 version of the Texas Death Match That would never happen, but I'd love to see it happen.
is we have a 10 count, and if you can't make the 10 count, you lose.
It's basically you lose by either last man standing or I quit rules.
And if you say I quit, you also lose.
Yeah.
I like it. I like the idea. So the more crazy, we need more crazy matches because we haven't had super crazy matches.
I can't even remember the last time I seen an I quit match.
Yeah, it's been a while. I have to say, even though it was generally loathed, I really, really thoroughly enjoyed what was it called now? It was like the haunted house match between Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt. I loved that match. I absolutely loved that match. It was so much fun because, Randy Orton was in this spooky, creepy house, and it was like kind of all, the camera filter was all like in black and white or kind of like this night vision or whatever. And so everything looked creepy and it's like when the evil Bray finally came out, they were like fighting in the kitchen. They're like hitting each other with a fridge door and then the fridge itself.
Did anyone break out the kitchen sink?
They broke out the kitchen sink.
You need to break out the kitchen sink.
It was utensils. It was doors. It was beds. They smashed each other through windows. It was everything. Like the house itself was a weapon. I loved that match. It was one of the coolest matches I've seen, and I wish we would have more crazy gimmicky matches like that. So your Texas Deathmatch 2019 goes right up there, and that is also our show.
Fantastic! It's been a while.
It has. So
we were overdue, but I was still busy crying.
That's right. I was crying for you. I'm a Bengals fan. I've been crying for years.
Yeah, Raiders fan, been crying for years.
But Body, thanks again for another great show.
It's been a pleasure, man.
And thank you all for listening. Remember to like and subscribe to our channel. Thanks again for listening to another episode of the Body and Mind Podcast.
Yeah.